Hello everyone, this is Floxcat. Sorry for that. You can tell there's a crane. If you don't see it, there's a fucking crane over here, juggling speaking. But kind of go ahead and just, I guess we'll just deal with it. At least we get crane. I might have to do a video showcasing a crane going by. That would be great. And it looks like it's stopping. It is stop. What the? I don't know. This is just getting weirder. I don't know. It doesn't stop me. Or it's not stopping. I don't know. It looks like it's stopping, or it looks like it's continuing. I don't know. Anyways, we're not here to talk about trains though, because today, as you guys can see, I'm starting a brand new, kind of hopefully monthly and not very much monthly series of the Mandela Catalog. Because let's be honest, GP Reed is about to probably finish up his ARG and stuff. I know Mikey Lugo's stuff might be also finished. Who knows? And I can't just stick to one ARG. Plus, since the Mandela Catalog is a continuing series, I'm like, you know what? I'll go ahead and cover it. I've seen a lot of people, a few YouTubers so far have covered it. And I'll be just one of those who covers the whole Mandela Catalog. Plus, also, I feel like this is a good idea to get me truly back into the more darker aspects of the ARG without being, hopefully not being too creeped out or anything. Because, let's be real, after what happened definitely last year, things will definitely be interesting, to say the least. But anyways, yes, this is part 2 and technically a brand new start to the Mandela Catalog, which I do want to introduce. And for those who are new to Mandela Catalog, I recommend you see my first video on it, but here's pretty much what we know so far. Mandela Catalog is literally a brand new series that just started this year. And technically, 5 months ago, dang, it started back in May or something, I think. If I'm doing my math correctly. No, that would be June. But either way, it's pretty much, it seems like a monthly series as it looks like, because it always just, so that would be good. But anyways, this is a brand new series that just popped up. And it's basically another analog horror, which I also did a video on. But it's a very good one considering what it's capable of. And so far, the idea of this series so far is about a group of monsters known as alters attacking people and pretty much trying to take over them. And basically, it's like the equivalent to Pokemon's Zora and Dittos, where they try to take over. Like that one joke from Dorky. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll probably send a link down in the description down below for that funny video, as I don't know if I'm able to show it here. But still, it's pretty much like that. And the whole point of it so far is it possibly takes place in another alternate universe, which makes sense. It's an ARG, what you effing expect, and it's very interesting. It takes the ideal form, and there have already been a bunch of theories. I know I'm butchering it a lot, but like I said, I already did a first explain video and a fry watch to see what was up with all this series, and I'm literally hooked. And as you guys also saw, I finally decided to subscribe to them because I'm like, I'll probably just go ahead and do this series and all that shit. And pretty much I want to go over at least this month's video, or at least last month's video, which is stated to be the season finale of season 1 of this, series. And I want to go ahead and do a little bit of dive, while also later on talk about a few updates and stuff that happened. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, side note, I just found out there's a group of people working, but literally in the next door neighbor. I was wondering what that group sound, but I don't think you'll hear it, so it's fine. Just focus on my voice. It's fine. At least they're fixing up the place, literally. Anyways, back to the point. The first thing is we gotta look into the video called whatever the. Hold on, let me see if it stop glaring. Well, you can see it right here too. Yeah, whatever the fuck that title is. Excuse me, because I don't know titles. And the preference, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up into 2 parts in this way. Not very much parts, but what I mean is there's literally 2 or 3 moments that needs to be talked about. And that moment, and you'll see why in a bit. So, first off and foremost, before splitting it off, we hear literally, just a bunch of beep boop beeps and some humming, which I'll get to that in a bit, though I won't showcase mostly what that is. And pretty much it also says, please dial back and blah blah blah, which is referring to once again about the secret training that, the police cannot help you with this thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, again, watch my previous video. But pretty much it's very uniquely interesting in some way. And then we get a familiar cartoon that is similar to the previous cartoon about Mary's birth of the Jesus. However, this time it is literally about the Ark, the story about the Ark and all that stuff. And this is Noah, of course. Oh, and good thing I caught that. I don't know if people missed that or not. I might have to somehow figure that out. It says 2 something. Okay, if anyone sees this and let me know, because I don't have no idea what that is, but it's 2 something. I'll probably watch more theory videos whenever a theory video comes out explaining this video, but it is something there. I just want to point that out. I didn't even notice until now, but then again, I'll just wait until people catch on things. But anyways, we see him literally getting shown, and I don't know what's going on. I do believe, and I'll call this character by what I'm going to call it. I think Jay is stalking him, and you'll see who I'm talking about in a bit, but I'm officially in headcanon, I'm going to call this guy Jay. Yeah, pretty much, because I have no idea what you call this guy. But anyways, and as you'll soon see later, jumping ahead, and we'll get into all that later, though it's not really much. There's actually not really much to this video, to be honest. We see him go ahead and do this arc thing as he planned, and then we see someone just walk up to him, although I highly doubt that's what the original intent of that scene was, since he's cutting and editing. We see flashbacks of Jay, what happened with the, whatever it was called. Let me back up and see, and there's Jay. And yes, I'm referring to the creepy angel face guy, which I'll probably show in a bit, as Jay, because I don't know what his canon name fully is. I know he is part of the second alter group, but I'm just going to call him Jay because what he's supposed to be based off of. And we see him not in his happy, creepy face, because he's pretty much, and it was hard to hear, so I will be butchering what he says, and I'll wait later, but it's pretty much simple what he says, though, because it is important. And what he says is, you son of a bitch. Well, he didn't really say this, but I'm going to translate it in terms. He's like, you son of a bitch. You did not do what I said. That's literally, he's that pissed off. And he said, like, I'm going to put creatures on your boat. That's literally what he said. Which is surprising because I don't know what he's referring to. Like, was he literally telling Noah not to build the ark or something? I literally lost confusion. Like, I get that he's angry, and this is actually relating to how these alternatives, whatever the F you call them, came to be, but I'll get to my suspicions on this whole video thing in a bit. But either way, Jay is just pissed off. He's not even using his smiley face. He never do the jump scare smiley face. And again, let me just show you who Jay is. This is who I'm referring to, which comparison you can see he is not happy like this. Oh man, it's still pretty much the mascot, but yeah, I'm going to call him Jay for now on because I have no idea what to call him and say, be honest. So anyways, Jay is literally, let me just change this out here because I don't want to see that. And luckily in this video we don't see any jump scare even though it feels so tense. But anyways, that's pretty much it and all that for that part, and I know I'm doing live time here, but just stick with it. But anyways, next up we see a photo which I will get to very later, but this was posted in Mandela's Catalogue's community tab, and we'll get to that in a bit. But sorry about that. We'll look at it later. But it's just what I think might be Mark with his sister. That's what I'll say. Anyways, we see something called a crime investigation of the Mandela County Health Clinic case, blah, blah, blah. It's just pretty much case notes. And it just talks about, and this probably is related to Mark's death in some way, or kind of his death, or let me see, location. Yeah, bedroom. Mark's bedroom. And it's definitely very unique. There's nothing too much to say as well, because I'm still confused on this part. But it's pretty much seemingly to take place right after his death. And of course we see someone driving, which is a pretty good drive-through kind of thing. Kind of peaceful, really. And then we get to see a church. And that's the same church from before, of course. Now, side note, I don't know if this church is real. Probably is, but I don't know where it might be placed. But it's very interesting. Then we see a zoom-in corner, which I wonder about that. Oh, and also, I should mention this too. There's also a picture of a window. And let me pause this and let me see if we can get in here. And the date is 03, or is that like British time or normal time? I don't know. I think it is. I think that's 92, May 30th, 1992. Which would make sense. And I'll actually explain that in a bit. That actually does make a lot of sense. But anyways, we see him, and there's nothing much to say. All we do know is later on, there's this television, and as you saw from the title card, this might be a reference back to Intruder Alert and what he actually looks like, and it seems like whoever's on his camera, which I highly doubt is Mark, and also, yeah, we see another alternative. That's definitely no doubt a alternative. It looks like it. Looks like a brand new one, it looks like. I don't know. Might be that one that goes upside down his shirt his head. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my Fry Watch and my previous one. I'll send both in the description down below. But, of course, we see alternative. And, again, there's really not much. All we know is... And here's how I picked up on the story. Oh, and I should actually back up because there's another moment... And that is literally we see the death of Mark Handkiff, and then they change it to, oh no, that's not our title. Our title is, which is literally, all this, the people we've seen before, which makes sense since they're a part of this. And again, I'll get to the reason why this is kind of important, but pretty much it just talks about, finance compensation will not be available, whatever the heck that means. I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering a lot. And it talks about all that. If you or a loved one recently been affected by the assault of exposure of analog television, which is kind of ironic because this is literally analog horror, and mirrors, contact your local authorities immediately. And that's an interesting one, mirrors. And then, wait, was that always it? All right. And if you have any further questions, blah, 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 the issues of television or mirror destruction order, which makes sense. I guess they want to get rid of television mirrors because of that. And there's a number which I'm not going to test out and see if that's an actual number you can call, because most times you might accidentally prank call someone. And really, that was it. Yeah, it's pretty much just a short season finale, but it was filled with information and all that. Now, before we start, there is two more things I want to point out that he recently updated. The first one is this. And it's very interesting as, yeah, it's probably his sister. Now, this is the full version. And it's probably his sister at that old church when they were younger. Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, it seems. Yeah, it might be taking place in the 90s, which makes sense. And by the way, I'm just doing all this while you're at it. And also, there's the arc. They already hinted at it, pretty much. So, yeah, that explains it. And then we get a third reveal of what this could be talking about. And the third one is very fun. And I love this because I'm the only person who got this thing. And that, well, probably not. I bet the comment section of this thing also got it. But this is actually one of Windows' first oldest background. Like, for example, you guys know my background looked like this. Well, in actuality, this was one of the oldest default backgrounds. And I remember this because I've seen this as a kid. Like, let me see if I can just go ahead and type this in, because this is I love how he make a reference to that. However, while we're on topic, and hopefully I can spell this right, I don't know why he did that. Will there be something else with computers? Which makes sense if it's dealing with more technology. Yeah, here it is. Here's the background I was referring to. As it zoomed, yeah, this is what it is. And I'll actually, you know what? I'll probably just use that. Yeah, I'll probably use that as the actual background for this, so I'll save that. But that is what's going on here. Now, I don't know what this will have to do with the next catalog, because these were free 4 weeks ago, and this was 10 days ago, meaning that, like I said, it will be monthly, but I don't know what this will have to do with anything. But before we move on, there is a few things I do need to correct. And the first major one, even though, let me double check. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely around the same time. Okay, so I need to do a recorrection here, because I made an error, even though I still back up to it because it's actually very interesting. So, you guys remember how I found out the Mandela Massachusetts? This is actually just referring to a opposed city. I mean, it obviously does not exist. I made a mistake thinking it was exist, but it turns out it does not exist. But this still backs up to my point that this thing was somewhat exists. And this might have been the inspiration of where he got this idea. Meaning that I still think this does take place in Massachusetts, because Mandela, Massachusetts does exist. Now, I could be wrong there, but let's be honest, it's somewhere in the United States called a Mandela County. So, this could be where he got it. I don't know, but I want to make it clear that I made error on that, which, not surprised, I always jump the gun on most of these things. But it is possibly, I'm still sticking to my guns on, what this could be area. And it makes sense too, since it's still referring to a alternate timeline. Okay, with all that being said though, what does this have to do with anything? Well, what I took out of that video is, well, literally nothing. I'm sorry to say this, but I mean, at least we get some context on a lot of things, because, like, still, it's very interesting to say the least. Like, for starters, we now know what the actual stranger looks like, from the TV, from the whole thing with the whole, the whole Amber Alert. Which, he does not look like the way he looks on television, just saying. He looks a little bit more, can't recognize. And as for what it was with all that live shooting, video camera corner. I don't know. Like, if I had to make a goofball theory, I think that was Mark before he was attacked by the analog, because by the alternatives. Those, what I'm talking about. Because back before, as we know, Mark died because of a certain reason. Now, by the way, I could be wrong. I could forget who died, but I know both of them were victims. And that may have been A, him actually dying, or B, probably before he was dying, because I forgot who was locked up in the house and got attacked by a different alternate. By the way, someone died in that camera afterwards. An alternate appeared. They might be working together. That's how I got it. Because, there was a window guy out there that looks like a new alternative. And we all know that, frankly, some person's actually into television. Probably drag you in like the freaking poltergeist. I really don't know. But it is interesting because we did get a background of a church, which backs down to the whole theming of religion and the place where Mark and presumably his sister is literally going to church and all that. And of course, as for the whole new cartoon story, which I'm practically surprised no one has picked up that this is probably a cartoon series that he's using to make this stuff, though I wonder what it is. I really do. Pretty much Jay is pretty much trying his best to, control these people. Because, like we said before, as it showcased, this takes place after the birth of Jay, or no, I think the 90 days water arc thing, if I'm correcting. Excuse me, it's been a while since I remember the story, though I do know what the story was about. I think it happened before his birth, but I could be wrong. Anyways, for those who do not know the story, it's pretty simple. Noah was supposed to build a boat because God told him to, because it's going to rain like nuts. And in order for him to survive, he has to put a boat and have two animals of the same kind with different genders in order to keep the species alive. That's literally the story in a nutshell. However, it seems like despite that, the Jay and pretty much what people are thinking, the freaking Antichrist won, that still doesn't mean God could have his own influence. And when Jay, aka, the smiling, creepy angel, found out about Noah still doing what God told him to do, Jay was not the Joker. He was pissed. And pretty much say, look, if you're going to betray me, at least let me punish you by putting these people on board. Which I guess was the alternatives. And again, I am Superman suspicions if this really happened. Like, I'm not saying this is still an alternate universe, but I'm still Superman suspicion that really how the alternatives was built. Because if you guys see my last video, my theory is this is whole just a government cover-up because they probably did a government test and fucked up with it. It still feels like it because of the department. And even then, the department's acting weird, and it seems like someone's trying to hijack these tapes and say, hey, this is actually a government thing, not real. This ain't religion and blah, blah, blah. That's what I think is the reason why we see Mark's death get hijacked on the new clock government branch in this alternate universe. And again, like as I say, there's much more to meet the eye. This series is super confusing, but at least you're able to figure out what's going on here. Now, there is a couple of things we need to point out. So first off and foremost, I forgot to point this out, but there was a comment saying that the yodeling at the beginning of the video with the whole beep boop beep, like I don't think it's really that connected, but he refers to it as a part of a scene of something. You'll see. Like I said, I'll send a link down in the original video. You'll see what I mean in a bit if you see there. But he said something about it being important about someone doing something that I won't describe because it's, to say the least, it's crazy. And, but it is something interesting that might be related. But it probably just added in. And the second thing I wanted to added was GP's own GP Reed's own theory, because if you haven't known, he actually did his own video and did a deep dive watch of what's been going on. Of course, he probably won't be doing what I'm doing, which makes sense since it's completely brand new and super confusing. But here's what he thinks it might be going on.
Last video. Just a little bit, but so the story of Mandela Catalogue is that angels have been here deceiving us all along, but they weren't really, I don't think they're really angels, because it showed that worm thing. I'm pretty sure they're archons, which are like a false angel or a demon. They're, if you follow the Gnostic myths, then it's like a creature that lives on Saturn, and there's like this evil deity creature that is commanding them all and sending them out, and that's what Saturn's rings are. It's like a bunch of these little metallic robot worm archon creatures, and that they're trying to enter Earth. So it's saying maybe that they made it to Earth and started tricking humans into thinking things, and now they're replacing people. And they're also, since they're angelic beings, they are possessing TVs and taking children. It's causing all kinds of havoc. So that's pretty much the story of Mandela Catalogue. All this is happening in Mandela County and the surrounding counties. That's what's called Mandela Catalogue. I believe it's an ongoing series because it has things like this, like the Volume 2 teaser. There's still a lot of teasers. So I don't believe the show is...
Yeah, pretty interesting theory. To be honest, I can see that, but let's be real, I am not really 100% with it. I mean, it still backs up to what most people have been thinking about, thinking that this is all from the Antichrist and all that. Hey, it's his theory, and that's very interesting. I never truly thought about that part. But to my opinion, I think this is all just, again, a government experiment. The reason why is, well, yes, I can see that this, and it might be true that there are angels, but it's too hard because there's so many coincidences that adds up that this is more of a government experiment gone wrong, and the government is trying to be a hush-hush about it because they don't want people to know, like SCP Foundation don't want to let us know about jack shit. That's just being honest. Like, it's literally like the government is trying to be like the Men in Black or SCP Foundation. It literally is like that because there's so many things like do not help the people because the people are screwed, so give up on it. The whole fact that these are good cartoons, but yet, again, they're all based on religion. And let's be honest, yes, there are a lot of people who believe, heck, I'm a Christian too. But let's be honest, sometimes science do better than religion. And, you know, just saying, not everything could be true. Just saying, not trying to get into a specific subject, but come on now. Come on. This is the reason why we have atheists sometimes. And trust me, there are a lot of arguments, and I want to blame it. Just saying. And really, this just sounds like so much like, to my opinion, what's really going on here, and I'll still back it up, and I think I need to zoom in. Yeah, you're not seeing that because it's just blurry. Like, my opinion is, I think what's going on is the government is trying their hardest to cover up by saying, hey, we did not do anything with these whole things and these monsters, because I feel like these are just test subjects that escaped their thing and now it's too late and there's nothing they can do, so they're trying to fool people and saying these are angels and blah blah blah. I know I'm jumping the gun there because there could be truthful, but still, I want to make it clear that I don't trust the government in this series. That's the point. Like, the angels and stuff, yeah, you don't trust because, yeah, they're the main antagonists. But I feel like the government is the secondary antagonist of this series because they're not doing shit. Hell, they're getting even, like, again, I theorized that the clock thing that happened with Mark is Dead was just a guy trying to leak out and say, yeah, this government is not helping. You gotta truly offend yourself or you're screwed. Because literally, they're even telling you to abandon your child if they're getting attacked by a monster. That's the most dumbest thing ever. Really. It's even more worse when they said after you finish off, if you're able to kill off a freaking monster, just kill yourself. If you're thinking I'm joking, look up the previous video I did. I am not joking. That is actually a thing they said in this thing. And I don't trust the government. And that's final. Like, that's literally the story I'm getting. And if this is angels, that still doesn't mean the government is a bad guy here. because something tells me that the government knows much more than what it is. But we're just going to have to figure out on its own. But yeah, that is, of course, Mandela Catalog. And before we go, I got one quick thing I wanted to show. And that is this lovely joke I made up. Okay, let's be honest. I just wanted to make it as a meme and stuff. Like, let me kind of back up and explain for a bit. So, apparently, yesterday something happened with, let's try not to, I hope they're, they're talking about another thing. Okay, but this is because they were talking about Markiplier and his own series. I don't know, go ask freaking Mikey, jokingly speaking. And then I saw this, and then I was like, you know what, let's just make it into this. So I'm just, by the way, I give credit to them so that way I don't take all the credit. But yeah, and I'm going to post that on the freaking thumbnail. I'll probably just keep posting it on the thumbnail just for fun. But who knows, maybe it become canon, I don't know. Markiplier mixed with Mandela Catalog, I don't know. And here's what I put too. I put like, new meme, I'm ready to hack and load with Wi-Fi. Oh gosh. I'm gonna go to hell. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what to say. But this is definitely a series I'm definitely diving into because it's super confusing and someone's going to have to explain it as best they can. So this has been Floxcat and I'm snapping out of here. Bye bye.